At Cloud Imperium Games, we believe art inspires the best technology. And through the development of that technology, it pushes us to create even better art. When Genesis comes to the persistent universe,
he low-key looks like Voldemort.
It will change how you experience every world. And not
being
just in the building of the new planets for the Nyx system. We will also go back through Stanton and Pyro and reimagine them through the lens of our technology. Previously, and more traditionally, we'd create slices of biomes, like deserts or forests. This
I want to see jungles. I want to see jungles, man.
But solving the scale was always tricky. And for Star Citizen, we like to do scale on another level. Issues like seeing tiling from our height maps from high altitude, or the unpredictable blending when two biomes connected, were common. But ultimately, things just never felt right. Our worlds were gorgeous, but to us, they still sometimes felt like interpretations. Now, this was a super hard problem, which we needed to solve.
Are they gonna add like motion
we challenged
to the plants and things
to emulate nature in the most believable way?
So reactions to hitting your players.
Scale,
Wait.
but to our level of detail.
Are the movements we make going to start interacting with the plants, the biomes, dust, all of that?
We've made a complete paradigm shift to how we do things. Biomes are now created based on the physical data sets, with the assets being spawned whenever and wherever the correct criteria is found. So when you see a forest or a meadow,
there's going to be water.
It's no longer because an artist painstakingly crafted it there. It's now because it simply wants to be there. It fits inside our rules. Genesis also ties into our other gameplay systems.
Where are these forests at?
Are built from the
I've never seen
information we
these.
create for our different data sets, like height maps, humidity, temperature, soil type, soil amounts, geology erosion data, to name but a few. This means you can now tell where to find valuable minerals as the geology looks like it would be suitable for it. Where screen piles exist below sheer cliff faces, and where rocks have broken off over time due to erosion.
Right, so you're gonna make things actually make sense.
Still give us the ability to direct the look and feel we want. The attention to detail from the tallest mountain to the smallest flower is still our core DNA.
What is this?
With Genesis, we can now keep that detail-orientated mindset as we focus on the quality, and it provides the quantity.
Is Genesis a new system or something? Because this is actually
Genesis provides our planets with the ultimate sense of exploration and adventure, discovery in the purest emotional form. We want you to find that perfect place, with the planets providing an abundant resource to harvest. This is a major part of what exploration is for us.
That is actually damn beautiful.
Now I'm going to hand you over to Will to go
That's
deeper
like Skyrim.
into what we have built that allows
Genesis world
to
building.
realize our vision. As a reminder, some of the visuals you'll see will evolve and change.
Look how beautiful this is. Oh my
technological
goodness.
And hone in on the final look for Nyx.
What incarnation? That's going to be so beautiful.
Thanks, Ian. So, in case it's not already clear, Genesis is our name
I'm
for a
building
group
my
of
base
technologies
in the
that are
swamp.
improving our ability to build worlds, refining those that we've already created, and ultimately expanding our persistent universe to the scale and quality that we all expect. I work on Planet Tech, so let's talk about how that's continued to evolve since our presentation last year. And instead of just highlighting some really cool biomes that we can create, let's go ahead and show how all this work applies to the upcoming planets of Nyx.
Oh yeah, Nyx is gonna have a bunch of planets too, eh?
Nyx 3 is a gas giant, and I think it's blue. It's not gonna surface, I don't really know. Nyx 2 is a yellow, toxic, it's got like this high pressure atmosphere, and it's a volatile planet with high risk reward gameplay. It's gonna have some really interesting biomes for you to discover, but for now, just know it's gonna be dangerous, because today, we're going to focus on what
damn.
we consider
So it's gonna be
the
like
hero planet
automatically
of
doing it
this system.
itself based on the landscape that they give it to build on. Damn, that is some deep
Next one
stuff,
has got
boy.
a rugged, remote beauty. It's got a diverse set of biomes, from weathered rocky mountain ranges to vast sweeping forests and
Yeah,
grasslands.
no, this right here,
And
I was gonna
damp
pause it.
expanse of
This
wetlands,
right here is
claustrophobic,
beautiful.
festering swamps.
Oh, nah,
These
that's just
core
so
biome
beautiful. To
concepts
me, that's
give us
just
a
beautiful.
fantastic
What
platform
the
to
hell?
hone our technology. In some cases, because the current tech couldn't do them at all, or because we want to completely step up our game for them. Let's approach this planet in much the same way that you, the player, will, from orbit. The orbit appearance of the planets going forward is far more tied to what is present on the surface. Previously, we had different data that drove the orbital and ground coloring. That's because the orbit was designed to look like vegetation that we'd place on the surface, and the ground coloring was trying to be a mix of soil, rock, and the organic compound coloring that forms the kind of colors there. Now we author much more of the data in a unified way. When you look
Oof,
at
but
Earth,
that's going to
you see
run
blues and
resources.
greens for ocean and vegetation.
Yeah, that's gonna run
browns,
resources, guys.
yellowy tones for sand and soil. We wanted to keep it as simple as that. The same set of textures and data that define the color of the soil, sand, and rock on the ground are used to create the orbital.
Yeah, this is gonna
Then
look
assess the
very
presence of
different.
vegetation and competition between different species on each part of the planet, and use that to blend in tones of green, including variations due to species health and the current season. This creates a far more complete
So
image
they're adding seasons?
and allows you to identify features, geologies, and potential points of interest all the way from space. Let's go down to the surface and start with something closer to what you're used to, but in a whole new light. When we approached the surface of the planet, we wanted to start by
That
focusing
looks.
on the
If
soil.
when you think about space,
One of the
Mars,
things that
that's
was
it.
missing
bro.
from our terrain previously
That's
was
it.
simply feature complexity. Looking at our contemporaries, we lacked
New
detail
PC
at
and
the
new
ground
servers
scale.
from CIA.
To combat this, we've added a new layer of data. That layer is called the medium tiles.
Ooh.
These
That's-
are
yeah, that's-
intelligently placed on top of the existing
Your
4
PC
kilometer
gonna blow
terrain
up.
tiles based
Yeah,
on
our PCs are
slope,
gonna blow up.
soil, other erosion data. And these medium tiles don't just create height changes, they also bring in local erosion data both for soil and bedrock size values. And this gives us a whole new level of terrain detail, of scale, and allows us to create far more unique locations
Yeah,
across
my
the
PC
planet.
about to blow up. I ain't gonna lie.
So now that we've nailed the surface, let's have a look at adding some rocks. We've now got 2 major contributors to the rock content of our planets. Firstly, long desired feature, cliffs. We are adding large scale,
I'm gonna be
very
crashing a
detailed
lot
to
more.
all our cliffs
I'm
based on
crashing, guys.
geology
I
to
can't
given
lie.
location. This adds an exciting new dimension to steep slopes that we simply couldn't get before.
Bro, Nyx
Second
is
is a
going to
big
be
one
so
for you ground
beautiful.
vehicle enthusiasts. Rocks are now found not scattered everywhere, like spilt popcorn at the cinema, but only in places you'd expect to find them, thanks to a brand new rock scattering algorithm using physical data
Yeah.
generated for each large and medium tile.
It
Now
makes
rock
sense.
distribution makes sense and has a physical basis.
Yeah, it makes sense. They
So if you're
fall
still
off the
crashing
cliffs.
into them after this comes out, that's on you. The rock assets themselves have had a glow up too. We now create rock sets related to a particular geology that look like they originated from the same source. And this ties into how we'll be distributing minables in much
my
more interesting ways
goodness,
too.
man. This is freaking beautiful. What the hell?
So now that our base terrain and rock scattering looks good, let's add some vegetations and explore some additional biomes.
Like, bro, look at this, man. Freaking hell, man. Oh my
Next
god.
one's
Get me a
forests,
VR.
grasslands,
Get me a
full of
VR.
trees, various grass species, rock formations, and they're found in all sorts of elevations like mountain valleys, open plains, and dense meadows. And when we
This is
start to add a bit of fresh water, they begin transitioning into more wetland type biomes.
Damn, bro.
wild
Those
forests
remind me
are
of
super
maple
cool.
trees.
Let's focus on the grasslands and wetlands today.
And you can see the mist as well. They've got the mist going
how
over
we're making
everything.
these look so great. Obviously, we've had grass before, but never meadows of it. Because until now, we haven't been able to spawn grass in large enough quantities.
Bro,
or
I'm getting
effectively
like
represented at distance.
80 to
So
100
we're stepping
frames
up our game
on a
in
good
terms
day.
of spawning, shaping, and shading
So I'm probably
grass.
gonna be hitting 50. Yeah, this is
With
going
Genesis,
to
we
stress
now
out the
leverage
system.
GPU spawning to create vast quantities of assets across all biomes.
They use
Whether it be
GPU
dense
spawning.
meadows or more complex collections of ground cover,
Wait,
like you can see.
does that mean we're
Wetlands.
gonna have to, our GPU is gonna be actually used now?
We are
Because
also
all
able
of
to
this
fit
is
our
gonna be
grass
used on our
tiles to the
GPU.
ground by conforming them to the unique terrain underneath. Now we can finally cover complex terrain shapes with grass and ground cover assets, and as a result, they are now gravity aligned, meaning each blade is oriented as you'd expect and not sticking out like before. Now, as in real
Bro.
life, the shading of a grass blade, or indeed a whole field of grass, is lit very differently to like a flat surface. We now use a solution that shades meadows of grass far more like fur or hair. And this, if you think about it, makes sense. At a distance, a field of grass is far more like a carpet or cloth than a flat surface. We now use a solution that shades meadows of grass far more like fur or hair. And this, if you think about it, makes sense. At a distance, a field of grass is far more like a carpet or cloth than a flat surface. This improves how our
Bruh.
grass looks from a near perspective, as well as bringing us nicely into how we're solving the distant representation of grass.
Is there gonna be interaction with
So
player
let's
and
talk
grass?
about the distance problem.
Because the thing
One
that
of our
makes
biggest
grass and
achievements
vegetation look
with
real is
Genesis
that
is allowing us to
interaction
build
player
beautiful biomes of
to
flora
object.
and geology assets like a building set. Like, can I say Lego?
No.
Too late. But in the past, this broke down very quickly when objects simply disappeared when viewing the same biome from 10, 20, 100 kilometers away. Because we don't hide planetary transitions and allow you to view complex regions from very large distances, there are almost infinite perspectives from which you can see a location in Star Citizen. So, how can we afford to evaluate complex spawning logic at runtime for the entire swathes of the planet? Enter the virtual terrain. Virtual terrain, or VT for short, is how we now cache and represent our terrain at varying scales. This has been the enabler of all of the
Incarnation.
lovely advances in terrain complexity and asset spawning we've shown so far. And it's also how we now evaluate and represent vegetation from a distance.
Create crop circles. Bro, that would be so
Creating the
freaking
VT for each part of the terrain, we assess if vegetation has covered the ground.
like it was the
If so,
aliens.
what shading should be applied? For all of our biomes, we're now able to use the same shading model for the distant representation as the close-up asset, whether that's our lovely rolling hills, some more dramatic rockscapes, those muggy wetlands, or even our festering swamps. So yeah, we didn't forget about the swamps, and they're coming to next one as well. Built using the lessons learned and all the technologies we've developed, these swamps now spring into existence from the planetary data. This biome combines all of the
Oh,
elements
bro, the
from
water's
biomes
all
we've shown
murky
you
and
today,
moving.
from water interaction, denser spawning, unique ground coverage, and I think it creates something really unique.
Bruh, imagine your base with me. That's gonna be so fire. That is actually gonna be. What's that at the back? Look at those. It looks like an arm. Do y'all see that?
Anyway, that's our update on the Planet Tech portion of Genesis and how we're using it
Bruh.
right now to
Definitely
sculpt
gonna
the
be rock
identity
climbing,
of this
bro.
world. And I
They
hope
need to
you're
add a
as
grappling
excited as
hook.
we are to
We need
explore
a
this
grapple.
and everything we haven't shared yet next year.
We need a grapple or a jetpack.
As you can see, Genesis is now inspiring everyone here to create planets of the quality and believability
Yeah,
we've
this is-
always strived for.
They need to make our
And
GPUs actually
meeting of
do
technology
something.
and art
We need to
that
use the
I
GPU
truly
for something.
believe will set our worlds apart
Because it's
from
getting
anything we've done
outrageous at this
before.
point.